Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today is air plant pot made with capiz shells. Now these are those very thin shells that you can buy at many different places they can come in different colors and they're usually round. I have a picture of them I'm going to show you. And they come in different colors and they usually have a one or two holes in them. And people often use them for wind chimes. But anyways, you can buy these and you can cut them with regular scissors. And they kind of end up looking like stained glass because they are transparent, well, translucent. And they're really fun. And I foil them. Usually, like I'm doing right now, as you can see, I'm using the whole width of 7/32 inch black backed copper foil. Now I like the black backed foil because the brand that I have is it's the Studio. I'll put it on my information page, but it sticks really well. So I like to use it, but you can use any foil you have. You're not going to be able to see inside of it, so if it's not black backed, it's not the biggest thing. And I foil it and I kind of cut and foil as I'm going, as you can see. And it makes the work pretty easy. I use a pencil to just draw out, and I'm actually using a few different colors for this particular project. I made out of 14 gauge copper wire, I made little triangular shapes to fit the size of the frames of my little hanging thing that I bought, and I'll put that information on it also, and you can get them in different places. But I decided for this particular one, I am going to make three triangles and then fill the triangles with the shells and then solder them on. So you can do it different ways. You could solder these capiz shell shapes directly onto your frame, or you could attach them to a frame like I'm going to be doing for this one, and then solder that on the frame. It's a little bit easier to handle if you solder them onto a triangle first, then try to just solder the shapes onto your actual frame. One reason is because they're so small that they tend to like to curl and move while you're going, and it's a little easier to control them when they are um, like free like this, and they're laid down flat, and I can make sure that they fit where I want to, and I don't have to worry about them, changing a little bit while I'm holding them in place and soldering them. So that's why I made these little triangles. Now to attach these triangles to the table, you don't have to attach them. You could just have them completely unattached and solder them, but it's a little bit easier if you stick them down to your table. Now I have used paper like sticky paper. You can buy already sticky, and I have used that. My last capiz shell, my last air plant pot thing, I did use the sticky paper. This particular one, I decided I would try using just white paper and using Scotch tape. And basically, with the tape, I'm just going to use a little bit of tape on the edges. Now, no matter what kind of way, if you're going to stick them down, no matter what, you're going to want to not heat it up a lot because if it's sticky paper or sticky tape, you have the possibility of the tape, the adhesive, actually heating up too much and sticking to your project and having an issue with unwanted adhesive. So that's one of the issues with having adhesive. And of course, you could also just use push pins or thumbtacks to hold it in place until you solder it. And maybe I'll do that on the next project so you can see the difference. And that works very nicely too. So it's really, whatever you want to do. And I do have a video on how you can make your own board that has a surface that push pins or thumbtacks will go into. Different suggestions of what you can do to make a really easy surface for you to work on. This particular one is just a piece of paper, so you don't really need it on a particular hard surface. You could just put this paper on anything and not have, not have it interfere with whatever's underneath the paper. So that's one reason why just using sticky stuff, it's a little bit easier, to deal with. As you can see, I'm using purples and pinks and clears. Now this is another triangle I'm doing, so I'm just using regular Scotch tape, tape that you would use for like wrapping a present. So what I did was I just made a triangle and then I'm putting my wire onto the triangle. Now, I'm only going to solder, I'm just going to tack it in place, as I said before. I'm not going to solder all of it while it's stuck to the paper because I don't want it to heat it up too much. So here I am adding some flux to the top, and I'm just going to very lightly just tack it together. So this is just so that I have the triangular pieces all put together. Now, I actually, for some reason, I made five of them or I made six of them when I only really needed to make five. So you can make extra pieces and then just choose what one you want, or you can make the correct number of sides if that's what you want to do. So basically, I did the triangle. I attached that with solder, and then I put the capiz shells inside. And again, you can see that I'm just tacking the edges. I didn't actually do the whole thing at once. For one thing, if you heat it up, if you try to do all of it at once, the heat will make it like come apart from your project because the adhesive will start, you know, releasing, and you'll end up with a problem. So you're going to want to work on a few different surfaces at once so you're not heating up your whole project. So as you see, I'm doing the corners. I'm trying to hold that flat. They do like to bend on you. Um, so I'm not heating the whole thing up as one object. Now you can use your brand new piece of solder like I have in my hand there, or you can use, like a little ball that you happen to have on the table. Solder is fine. You can reuse scraps that you didn't actually, incorporate into your project. Don't throw those little blobs and scraps away because you can just heat them up and use them. So that's something to always remember. Even the teeny weeny dots that you have on your work surface, you can scoop them up and use them. So I'm straightening them out. So anyways, what I was saying before is I'm using some different shades of blues and then reds into pinks, and then I have some whites. So it's almost every color. I'm not using any yellow or green. Whatever color scheme you want to decide. I mean, you can use every color of the rainbow if you want to. I usually limit it somewhat on each project, so it has kind of a color scheme, but I do both sides of something like this. I do the back soldering so that so that it's stronger and yeah, basically, so it's stronger. Sometimes it's because I want it to look better, like I'm going to see the inside. But for these air plant pots, I'm really not going to see the inside because that's where your plant would be. But, I do the inside anyway. But so I turned that other one over and I'm letting it cool a little bit while I start another triangle. And then I'll go back to that one. Now, I could have, when I did my original foiling, I could have used only half of the width of your basic 7/32 inch foil, and then the lines would have been thinner. Now, if you decide to do that, of course, you won't have that overlap on your pieces, and it won't be quite it will be strong, but you won't. you won't have that overlap, so it won't be quite as strong, but you'll have thinner lines. So you need to decide, there's a toss up, what do you want to do? Do you want to have thin lines between everything, or do you want to have it, overlap so it's going to be stronger? So it's really up to you. Right now, as you can see, I clamped on one of the triangles and I am soldering it. Now, before I did this, I did wrap the bottom part of this little frame. So you want to wrap the bottom part of your frame, or this thing that I'm making this air plant pot on. I want to wrap the bottom part of the metal with foil. So I use copper foil for that. Now you don't have to use your fancy black backed, but just know that some of the foil that I've gotten that's not black backed, the more inexpensive foils that I've gotten, some of them aren't very sticky. And that makes it harder to wrap around things because it keeps on wanting to not stick. So it's really up to you what you want to do. Often I will go around, 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 around the wires. Sometimes I go the long way. It's really up to you how, yeah, this is how I'm trying to decide which of the triangles I want to use. But you do want to wrap your wire, or the solder won't stick to most metal that you just buy. So like if you buy something metal and you want to make some fun creation on it, you might want to test your metal to see, will it accept solder? Because not all metals will take solder at the temperature that we do our stained glass work with. And so, you're not going to want to use a torch or something to do your project. So you want the metal that you're using to accept the solder. So the a roundabout way to make it work is to just wrap that metal with the foil, and then you don't have to worry about it because it will in fact take solder, because the copper foil just loves solder. So it just goes right to it. And because you wrapped it all the way around, it's going to work great. So right now I put some flux on this project, and I'm just kind of trying to smooth out some of the rough spots on my project. I'm going around the top and I'm making sure it's attached as much as possible. But as you see, because I use triangles instead of attaching my shells directly to the frame, I have that gap between the actual wire frame of the original plant frame and my creation. So I have this little gap. Right now I'm soldering those wires to my shells, but I still have a gap. And around the top you can see that yeah, they're not perfectly attached. So after I finish doing the soldering, which it's a little bit trickier because it's like way inside there, and I don't want to heat up the shells too much while I am doing this because I don't want them to come off. I'm using my foil and I'm going all the way around to fill that gap. So I don't have that gap between the original wire of the frame and my creation capiz shells. So I put a piece of foil along there and just squished it down really well so it's stuck. And now I'm just soldering it, so it's gonna end up looking the same as the rest of it. Since I'm going to put patina on this, I want to have it all soldered. Now, this particular one, as you can see, the top part of this frame is copper colored. So I'm going to patina it with copper colored patina. If I wanted to make this black, I and use black patina like my last air pot plant holder thing, I would have to either, with acrylic paint those wires at the top, or cover the wires at the top with foil and then put solder on all those, because the patina would not make the black, I mean the copper colored metal at the top. It would not attach to that and make it black patina, because that metal, as I said before, is not a natural, it's an alloy of different types of metals, and it just will not accept the patina like the solder will. So um my idea was, for this particular one, I will keep it the copper color, and that makes it fine. So I'll just worry about the bottom part, and patina on it, and everything will kind of all blend together, because the copper patina pretty much is the same color as copper metal that you get. So I'm going around with my solder and just kind of smoothing out areas. So that's what it looks like before I sprayed on the patina, and you can see that the solder, just like after you clean it, of course, completely, it just took the patina great, and it became really shiny coppery color. So I sprayed on some of it and then used an old toothbrush and spread it all around. So I got that really antique coppery look on all of it, and it was really pretty. Put some air plant plants in it, and you're done. Well, thank you for watching. Bye bye.